Yo, got a post-LEDE Vaalmonica list for you. The new support brings the deck into being at least playable. It's not good, but it's fun. So, starting things off with 3 Celatris. This card adds any Vaalmonica card on normal or pen summon, thanks Konami. And if it's sent to your grave, it can add itself back as long as you have a Vaalmonica monster card on your field. So you can just activate one of the pendulums and you get the pen scales, while this card just adds itself back. I am on 3 each of the pendulums. These cards are pretty much the entire deck. They both have the same first effect to discard a card in order to place themselves and the opposite pendulum Vaalmonica from deck into the other pen scale. Then when they're in your pen scales, they gain resonance counters based on if you take effect damage or gain life points. If you gain life, Angelo gets a counter. If you take damage, Demino gets a counter. They have little bonus pendulum effects that can be relevant. Angelo, if you are attacked, can activate the Link Summon, and Demino just reduces your opponent's monster's attack by 100 for each resonance counter. Usually the max amount you'll see in a game is like 7. For their monster effects, Angelo can banish Vaalmonica spells or traps to copy their life gain effects, and Demino their burn effects. I'm playing 4 copies of the field spell. This is a Rota field spell that kind of has a snatch steal on it. It's just if you get 3 resonance counters on one of your pens, you can take one of your opponent's guys until the end phase, but it can't attack. 3 copies of Invitaire. This is E-Telly for the deck, but it locks you into only activating Vaalmonica monsters on the field. And the usually much better effect is if you control a non-pendulum Vaalmonica, you can add a Vaalmonica pen from your hand and one to your extra deck, essentially being a double Rota. For the rest of the spells and traps, they say your opponent chooses which effect happens unless you control a Vaalmonica pendulum, which was just another way of Konami saying, we don't want this one to be good. 3 copies of Celta. The gain effect is to bottom 1 and draw 2. The burn effect is to add a Vaalmonica spell or trap. 1 copy of Disharmonia. This card places a resonance counter and then you can gain to add a Vaalmonica card from banished, or you can take damage to add from grave. This is one of the better cards in the deck, and I'm not sure how many copies of this I want to play yet. My only issue with playing multiples of this card is that by itself it does nothing, but it is one of the best cards in the deck, so I don't know. Next up, I'm on 3 copies of Versaire. The gain effect is to excavate cards until you hit a Vaalmonica card and add that to hand. The burn effect is to send a Vaalmonica card from your deck to the grave. A lot of people only play one of this because similarly to Disharmonia, if you open this and no way to the pen scales, this card doesn't really do anything, but I still think this is the best gain burn spell you can play next to Celta. Then I'm just playing one of the trap, Vaalmonica Followed Rhythm. This card is MST if you gain and a bounce if you burn. Or if you have a Vaalmonica Link monster, you can do both in sequence. Neither affects target, which is good, and you can do either field as well, meaning you can MST your own cards, which can be relevant, and you can bounce your own cards such as Nib or Bystials for later use. Pretty unlikely thing to happen, but it's cool that it's possible. This card also happens to just be completely insane against Tenpai. Because it applies in sequence, if you have the Vaalmonica Link up, it will MST their field spell that makes them unaffected first, and then it would return the monster to their hands, which is pretty good against that deck. They do have another trap that gives you targeting protection, and it's an imperm, but I just think that this one is significantly better, and it's pretty unlikely that you're going to get to both. For the hand traps, I'm just on 3 Nib, 3 Ash, and 3 imperm. Then for just staples, I'm on Prosp, Talents, and Called By. I'm not sure on any of these 7 cards. Like, this deck loses really hard to Imperm on Celatris. Like, it's just over then and there 90% of the time. Talents doesn't help you in that situation, and it likely won't help you if you're under Prosp as well. There's hands where you don't have access to the pen scales, but you have, like, Prosp plus Celta, and Prosp gets ashed, and Celta doesn't do anything anymore. It sucks because I don't think there's a better card for this deck than Prosp, especially because this deck can kill under the half damage restriction. The deck needs the added consistency, but maybe the answer is going back and playing like the Rev Synchron tuning stuff to get mills for the Vaalmonica spells and playing like AFD Secret Village. Maybe the answer is maxing out on hand traps. You could play Upstart, but that seems kind of bad. I feel like Crossout would be good in this deck, maybe instead of Talents. I don't know. Still working on this. This deck also hard folds to Droll, so I guess you kind of do need the Called By. It just sucks that Imperm is the card that usually ends your whole career. For the extra deck, I'm playing 2 copies of Zabuphara. This is a Link 1 that just requires 1 effect monster, but you have to have 3 resonance counters on Demino to summon it. It can protect any cards from being destroyed by battle or card effects by removing 3 resonance counters from the field, and it can copy Vaalmonica spells and traps from the grave are banished, and it's soft once per turn, meaning if you summon a second one, you can just use his effect again. But these cards are once per turn to summon them. One, Duralume. This is the Angelo version of the other Link one. This on summon can target and destroy monsters your opponent controls up to the number of resonance counters, which is usually everything by the point you summon this, and you can remove 3 counters and it can attack 3 times. That's 7,500 damage by itself. Their Link monsters are pretty fucking nuts. The problem is just getting the counters. I'm on Link Spider for now. It's just here to turn non-effect monsters into effect monsters. This deck pretty much always plays into Nib, but you technically don't have to. You could just go like Baguska end of main, and if they got Nib, they're probably dropping it, and then you just go Link Spider into Zabuphara. For the future, I am probably just going to play a second copy of Duralume because that does come up. I'm on Artemis. This is just to get a bonus link material on your field by linking Celatris into her, and then Celatris adds back for free, and you pend her out. IP, the only noteworthy thing here is that IP can link just itself away to make one of your link ones if you have the counters, so you could go like IP Zabuphara Pass and end up with 2 of them. SP, I'm on Sorcerer of Sebek. I just wanted a generic link to. There was just fields where you wanted to have like the 2 arrows pointing down to get advantage out of your extra deck pen summoning. And this one has very mild niche synergy with the deck. At the end of the day, it is a link monster that just does 3,000 damage, which ain't too bad. Exceed the Pendulum is to get back your Vaalmonicas that end up in the grave. Selene can reborn Celatris. Access Code Talker. All 3 of these cards, honestly, I don't think are like mandatory to play the deck, so these are flex spots because Duralume is just so good at killing by itself. I do think Access Code is still good though for back row because Duralume is monsters only. Dweller, Dugaries, this is how you kill through Prosp. You double the attack of Duralume and that's 16,000 damage. And finally, Typhon. For the side deck, I'm just on Bestials, Cosmic, Evenly, D-Barrier, and Judgment. Not really a ton to say about this. And that's the deck. I think it's cool. The first time I played this deck before the support, I went straight for a Runic build because Zabuphara can copy Celta to bottom 1 and draw 2, and that just seemed like a fun thing to try and loop. I'll probably try and make something like that work again. This engine is capable of doing a lot of wacky things, like Celatris being a water means you can make Bahamut Shark into Toad, Assault Synchron with Blackwing Borea Storm, sending Zephyros is a cool play that gives you 2 resonance counters and a rank 4. I'll definitely be trying a few builds for this deck to try and find the list that beats 1 Imperm. But until then, thanks for watching.